Yo, it's Trent. Hope everyone's having a good day, good week so far. Make sure you sub, share, like, comment, all that. In the room for this day's story or today's story, but we got ditching school and running from the cops story time. So this actually, I told a little bit of this story in a video about 10, 11 months ago, but it got like 8 views, so I'm sure none of you have heard it. So that's what we're telling today, right? Don't condone this. I would not run from the cops if I were you. Just saying. Not the smartest. You'll probably get caught, but I just happened to get lucky, and we're going to talk about that, right? So at the time, I was in high school, and I had not been to the alternative school yet, right? But I had already quit football and started taking drugs. Already started partying and stuff, having a good time in life, right? Well, I was also starting to skip school. Well, not starting. I already was skipping school, but this is how it would usually go, right? I had about, let me think. I can't remember in school if you have, I think it's a 9-period day, but then you have lunch and study hall and stuff, so you really only have like 6 or 7 classes. But this is how my day would go. I would wake up, right, and school starts at like, let's just say 7:40, because it was right around there, right? I wouldn't get to school till about 9:30 to 10 every day, even though it started at 7:40. So I already missed 2 periods, right? I would get to school, I'd go to the bathroom and get stoned, right? Then I would go to whatever class I'm supposed to go to, which usually was boring, and then I'd have gym. Gym I was always cool with, just because, I have no problem playing sports. I wasn't like what's it called, like a try-hard kid in gym, but if there was dodgeball, I was gonna play, like it was fun to me, but it wasn't like I need to win. It was just, this is better than math class, let's go play some sports. So I would always do gym, but then right as gym finished, right, I would have one more class, lunch, and then that's where I would usually leave right after lunch, right? But sometimes I would leave before lunch, depending on, what happened that day. If I was mad, or if I had an argument with a teacher, or if I just, whatever it was, right? But I would leave for any reason. Like, it could be I had to take a shit, I'm going home. My stomach hurts, I'm going home. Like, I'm bored, I'm going home. No discipline, right? But I would get in trouble for it, I promise you. At home, my mom and dad, they did not like that I was missing a lot, right? Even my grandpa, because, me and him are tight, right? So he would call me up all the time. Why are you missing school? Why are you missing school, right? Oh, no. My bad, my bad. Don't leave. Let me set this up real quick, and then we'll get back into it. Okay, so, my grandpa, right? He's calling me. He's like, you're missing school too much. I'm like, my bad, right? But I wasn't going to stop. I knew I wasn't going to stop. Then one of my friends started skipping with me, and that's what this story's about today. One of those experiences where me and my friend left school early. So on this day, I remember, not too specifically, but I remember most of the details from beforehand, right? So I got to school late, of course, and I remember when I got to school, I might have just been starting gym. I might have missed like the first 3 periods, right? But I remember in gym that it was like a fitness day, but not testing, It was like you can run, you can go, like there is games you can play, but they're fitness related, like they're not fun. So I was just walking laps, right? And in my gym class, or not in my gym class, but in the same period, my other friend was down the hall, right, in a class. So I'm texting him, seeing if he can meet up at all, right? And he could. So he gets out of class to go to the bathroom. I asked to go to the bathroom. I go meet up with him, right? We're walking around for a bit, and I'm like, hey, I'm planning on skipping right after lunch. Do you want to come with me, And he's like, sure. But at this point, and the reason this is such a important one, because I skipped all the time. Why is this story so important, Because 2 days or 3 days before this happened, I got brought into the office, and they basically were like, listen, we're watching you. We've seen you leave on the cameras many times. We're watching you. Like, don't do it again. And if you do, we're going to catch you, We're going to call the cops or something. They were basically just telling me I'm going to get in trouble if I do it again, right? That did not deter me at all, or detour me, or whatever, however you say it. I was going to do it, right? So, day keeps going. I remember I was really bored in whatever class I had before lunch, but I got to lunch, met up with my friend. I think I had, I don't remember what day it was. If it was a Tuesday, I had tacos, but I don't know what day it was, right? But hopefully I was eating tacos, talking to my friend, and we're trying to figure out a plan, right? Because they're watching me. They're not watching my friend, but they're watching me, right? So we sit down at the table with some other people, and I was trying to convince the other people to leave too. What a great influence I am, right? but they didn't want to. So it's just me and the one kid, and he's like, okay, how should we do this? Because I had a certain way that I would leave every time, right? I would come out of the lunchroom, and to the right, there's maybe 3 classrooms, and then an exit door. And to the left, you go by the front office, and then you go by like 12 classrooms, right? So every day when I would leave from lunch, only if I was ditching from lunch, I would just turn right, go right past the special ed room, and then out the doors, right? But I knew they'd be watching me. I knew there was a camera above that door. The only door that didn't have a camera was by the locker rooms, right? Because you can't have a locker room with a camera, right? So I'm telling him, here's what we need to do. We need to finish lunch a little bit early, and we need to switch hallways. So instead of leaving the lunch area, we're leaving the gym area, you know? So it makes it look like we just got done with gym. We can go out the door. We're good, right? Pretty smart plan, if you ask me. So we do that. We finish lunch like 5 minutes early, and we go walk to the gym. I remember when we were walking down the gym hallway, we passed my gym teacher, who I had already seen, right? He was probably wondering why I was there, but you know what? He was a G. He didn't say a goddamn word. He didn't say anything to me. He didn't even acknowledge me. He looked at me. I looked at him. He didn't say a word. He probably knew I was up to no good, you know? So I walked past him. We're waiting in the line to leave the gym a little bit, right? Because there's a long line of people that wait to leave there's only like 2 gym doors you're supposed to go out of. So a long line of people, right? We're in the back of that line because we're not actually walking forward. As soon as the bell rings, we're just turning around and going out the doors. So the bell rings, we turn around and we leave, right? Now, once you get outside, and we didn't talk about this inside, but we should have. Once you get outside, there's about 1, 2, 3, like 4 ways you can go. You can go towards this downtown area, but it has a lot of cops, right? And they probably know if you're not, I mean, they don't know, but they could figure out if you're not supposed to be at school, you know? So that one's a little more dangerous, but it's also like, are they really going to stop us, you know? So we didn't go that way. And also going that way would be the opposite of my house, right? My friend, we lived kind of not in the same area, but we both had to walk the same way, right? So we quickly decided, instead of walking around the school and going to a sidewalk, because obviously it's the school, you got the football fields, sidewalks, and then sidewalks meet in the front, but there's no sidewalks in the back, right? So instead of walking around to the sidewalks, we go straight through the tennis courts, straight through the football field, straight through the baseball field, straight through the soccer field. Like, we just go through all of it, right? And I don't think there's anybody outside just because gym class had just ended, but this is why we got the cops called on us, I'm sure. If we would have been a little more sneaky, trying to walk to the sidewalk and like be more low-key, I'm sure no one would have noticed, at least like for another class period or 2, right? But someone must have seen us, whether it was a teacher or, you know, the security guard or whoever, right? But we had no idea to know they'd call the cops. So we walk for maybe 10 minutes, and it's going to take another like 20, 30 minutes to walk home, right? Like, it's a long walk, and it was pretty cold outside. It was like, it wasn't this time of the year, but it was a little before. It was like October, November or something, right? So we're walking, and for anybody that is in Illinois, I'm sure you know what this is. I don't know if they have them in other places, but Jewel Osco, right, is a grocery store. That's when we found out the cops were after us, right? Because we went in there, and we were just walking around. I don't think either of us had money, or if we did, we weren't buying anything, but we weren't stealing anything. We were just walking around because we were bored, right? So we're walking around there, and we turned kind of to go towards the exits in the front, and there's about 3 cops standing there talking to a lady, right? And we look at them and make eye contact, and they start walking towards us, right? Now the exit door's here. We're here, cops are here, right? They start not like running, but they start speed walking towards us to cut us off before the exit. We did something very smart. I mean, first of all, no, we didn't, because you should never run from the cops, right? But we already made our minds up in that moment. So from now on, even though it's a bad decision, I'm calling it smart because we didn't get caught, right? They start walking towards us. We just turn around, right? We just turn around and walk back into the like the major part of the grocery store where all the people are, right? We walk in there, and there's a big line at the deli, right? So I'm like, yo, let's just head to the deli and walk through it, you know? Like, let's just walk through that line of people. And by the time we walk through them, the cops, if they're even around the corner, they won't see us, right? So we walk through there. come around, and then we'd start walking down an aisle towards the exit again, right? But also trying to be sneaky, you know, we're making sure our heads are under the aisle, we're making sure, like, there's no cop behind us, right? Then we get to the part of the grocery store where it's, like, the direct middle, you know? Like, if you're pushing the cart, you can look and, like, you can see all the aisles, you know? Like, if you could turn right and go in one, you could turn left and go in one, you can go straight, continue down the aisle, you know what I mean? Like, the little hallway part. And we're in there, and I look to my left, and a cop was just walking into the next aisle. Like a movie, dude. He was just walking into the aisle next to us. So the moment they walk, or he walked that way, we book it to the front, right? We get out the exit door, and this is where we messed up a little bit, right? Because in front of Jewel, there's a couple places, right? There's a Subway, a Domino's. I think there's like a Jamba Juice. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. But I know there's a Subway and Domino's. There's like a Burlington where I worked at actually for a little bit. But we should have just gone home, right? Because our houses weren't too far ahead of that. But what do? We walk to Subway, the next place up, right? So we walk into Subway and we both go in the bathroom because it's like not a family bathroom, you know, but it's a big bathroom. So we're sitting in there, we lock the door, and we're just sitting in there, and we're like, okay, let's sit here for like 20, 30 minutes till we know for sure there's no cops in this parking lot, and then we'll walk home, right? Well, we're sitting there, and while we're sitting there, I get a call from my mom, right? Which made my heart drop, scared the shit out of me. So I answer it, I'm like, hello? And she's like, what did you do? I'm like, what? She's like, you have the cops after you. The school called and said there's cops looking for you. Like, you need to get back to school or get home or do something, you know? You're not I can't remember exactly what shit, but she was pissed, right? Not even 30 seconds after I get off the phone with my mom, my grandpa calls me, right? And he's like, do you know that the cops are looking for you? So I'm wondering, how the hell do they know this stuff, right? Because I know they were, well, actually, now I know. They were emergency contacts on the school list, so you can guess what happened. They just called them, you know? So me and my friend are sitting in Subway, and after I get the calls, we're like, okay, let's go home. Like, let's just get away from these cops and go home, deal with this another time, right? Or not deal with it another time, but as far as it goes with the school, because our parents, we knew how to deal with our parents, right? But the school, like, we didn't know what to expect for that, so we didn't want to go back to school. So we come out of the Subway bathroom, and there's a cop in the parking lot of Subway, just standing there, right? He's not looking at us. It's not like he saw us walk out of the bathroom, but he was waiting just in case we were there, right? We go to the corner of the Subway, right? And we're sitting at a table that's right by the, like right by a divider, so we can kind of duck down, but barely, right? And we're just watching this guy. And I'm asking my friend, you know, what do you think we should do? Because I wasn't really sure, like, how we were going to get out of this. Maybe we should just give up, you know? And he was like, listen, I think what we should do is split up. He's like, my house is down, you know, more to the right. Yours is straight ahead. If we both walk out at the same time, he can only get one of us, you know? Which is a smart plan. It was smart. He's right. He can only get one of us unless there's backup, you know? So we were like hyping ourselves up at this table, right? And I remember we both had water cups, and I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, okay, you ready for this? How should we do it? And he's like, you go out the left door, I'll go out the right door. And the guy was kind of standing, and there was a middle door. That's where he was standing by, right? So as we're hyping ourselves up, he starts walking back to his car, right? And I'm like, in my heart, I'm like, please leave. Like, please drive away. And I tell my friend, because he was getting ready to walk out the door, I'm like, yo, I think he might be leaving. We sit there for a minute, and he drives away, right? So I'm so hyped up. I'm like, thank you, right? So I book it. I'm like, yo, great to see you, buddy. Sorry that I dragged you into this, but he told me, he was like, listen, I did this to myself too. I wanted to come. I wanted to leave, right? Made me feel a little better. So I'm like, okay, I'll see you at school. Or maybe I won't, you know, I'll see you somewhere. So, you know, we dab each other up, fist bump, whatever, and we leave, right? He goes out the one door. I went out the middle door because the cop wasn't there, right? And I just start speed walking home. As I'm going through the light, right? Because right in front of the Subway is like a little grassy area. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes, or 5 lanes if you count the turning lane. It's a 5-lane, 4-lane road, right? So I'm waiting at the stoplight. As I'm walking through the stoplight, dude, I look to my right just casually. Who's going through the light a cop, a goddamn cop, right? So he looks at me, and I look at him, and he starts turning into the, there's like a gas station 7-Eleven. He was turning in there, which is where I had to walk, and I just went, fuck it, this is, if I'm gonna get away, this is when I have to try, and as he was turning left, I start sprinting, but a little bit to the right, so my house is like this direction, the cop is right here, and I'm right here, right, and I start sprinting like this, like I start sprinting that way. I heard his door open, but I did not look, and I didn't even hear his footsteps. Now, I'd like to think that's because I'm really fast, but I'm sure it was just adrenaline. I didn't look behind me once, right? Because I knew that I was about exactly a mile from my house, and I could sprint this, if you ever did the mile in, like, middle school, and you think about your time, I know I did better than that, dude. I started sprinting, like, all the way. I was scared. I did not want to get caught. What I didn't think about this whole time was that they knew who I was. Like, either way, I was going to get in trouble for this stuff, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted to be a part of the chase, I ran through these bushes even. Like, it was so fucked up. I get to another crosswalk area, and it was not my turn to go, right? There were cars coming, and I didn't even want to wait. Like, I had no waiting in me, right? So as I'm running up to it, I'm like, no matter what, I'm running through this, whether there's a car coming or not, they're gonna have to stop, right? But I got lucky that there was no cars coming immediately. There was a car like 20 feet away, but it was enough time for him to slow down as I ran across, right? Still didn't look back. And just in case the cop was right behind me, but by this time I'm sure he gave up, or if he didn't, he was far back, I went into these little apartments by my house just to make it seem like I lived there, and then I hopped the fence to my backyard, got inside, and I was safe, But let me tell you why this was really dumb. I got to school the next day, and I got in trouble a lot. I got a lot of detentions, and I don't know if I got suspended for that, but it definitely put me on the track to getting sent to the alternative school. But okay, thank you guys for watching. Hope everyone has a good day, good night, all that. Check out my other stories. Check out the puppy videos and gaming videos. And thanks for watching. Peace out.